Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and today I'm very proud and excited to present to you Donnie Lim, who was one of the 4 people who we chose to be represented by Astrolada and to work with me personally. Because he took the apprenticeship with Victor last year, 2019. And actually, we had to give him 3 charts at the last test because every time we gave him one, he was too correct and we thought he's cheating. So I said, no, we have to test him again. It can't be true. It's like he knows, like, does he know this person? I can't believe that. So we asked him 3 times to do it. We were super impressed. And hi, Donnie.
Hello from Asia.
Where in Asia are you?
I'm Singapore.
Oh, fantastic. Beautiful place. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a super early day for you. And you've prepared for us a great topic today. Can you tell us?
Yes, I've actually prepared a topic about Venus because we just had a Venus retrograde. I think it will be very interesting to explore the deeper meanings of Venus. And perhaps through this presentation, people can also add more keywords or vocabulary that they might not have thought of when they think of Venus.
Perfect. We need a beautiful topic like that. 2020 has been too crazy. Let's talk about Venus. Planet, when you think about it, when you talk about it, you attract that energy. So let's enter into the field of Venus, and everyone who is watching that video, that presentation, will be able to absorb the positive influences of Venus. And by the way, Donnie is offering a reading 40% off on his launch, which is connected to Venus. Everything that he's showing here, he can do for you as part of the reading. So I'm very excited to see what you've prepared for us, Donnie.
Well, I've gone through like a lot of books, and I'm sure you know, Lada, that Venus, what do you call that? Special topics regarding Venus in astrology is hard to find.
Okay, I'm excited. I want to.
Yeah, so I basically just bought everything I can and learn what I can and just put everything together.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah. So can I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Perhaps? Yeah. Okay.
I think this topic will be very interested to all women because women are ruled by Venus. Every woman is ruled by Venus, even if she hasn't.
Well, and also people who are like Venus ruled.
Yes.
So like those who have sun or ascendant in Taurus or Libra might want to hear this out as well.
As well, the moon. My husband is Taurus moon, and he's more Venus than I am.
Oh, I've got Taurus moon as well.
Oh,
that's where I get where it's coming from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Matthew is also like what, Libra rising, right?
He's very Venus. Yes, he's all Venus. My husband.
Okay. Then you probably need to listen to this. So today's topic is like Venus. What's your fire, true desire? Because Venus is what we really want, and what we crave for, what we want, what we long for, what we yearn for. So, but then the cycles of Venus can actually represent divine feminine cycles, because the thing is, Venus in itself, meaning-wise, it can also refer to our way of ascending to divinity, and it also represents feminine wisdom.
So it has a spiritual side, you say?
It has as well. And I think I can be so-called the living testament of what I'm about to present, because I've been through like cycles of Venus. And the thing is that we would think that this journey with Venus will be like all sugar and spice, all things nice. but then like it also serve as it also has its trials and tribulations as well. And from then we have to make the appropriate choice whether we want to follow the guiding star of Venus. Although we call Venus as a planet, but you know, we'll later get to why Venus is called a star as well. So it's also the path to love and empowerment along the way. So before that, I would like to just acknowledge all these amazing astrologers who's written about Venus that I've consulted the content of and put this presentation together.
Thank you, that is awesome.
So let's go to Venus as we know it. What do we, at least superficially, know what is Venus about? I think these photos kind of sum it up all together. Like it's about relationships, it's about the sweet things in life. Hence, I put the donuts there. And it's the money, the roses, the arts, the inclination to all things that's artistic and refined as well. But then there's also like a darker side to Venus that I need to mention. Just think about the Venus flytrap. Is it like the most appealing thing in the world? And when a fly actually gets stuck in a Venus flytrap, it actually gets stuck there forever and it gets digested. So I just want to put things out there that every planet has got its polarity, and Venus as well. But what does Venus mean, at least to me? Venus is actually the gateway to get and express what your true heart's desire are and radiate that out into the world. Modern society has made Venus more superficial, actually. So I think that kind of trickles down to how we actually perceive Venus. One thing that came to my mind is that is self-worth equals your net worth. I think that's a very valid question to pose out there. Like, you know, if you go out and meet someone and you kind of introduce that guy to your mom and you say, oh, you know, what does he do? And you say, oh, he's a janitor. And your mom is like, oof, you know, better not get with him. But if you say after that, oh, he's actually pursuing a PhD and he'll get a better job afterwards, after he graduates, then the perception actually changed. Why I'm mentioning this is that I think in many cultures, we do actually associate our self-worth with net worth, how much we have in the pocket, which honestly, it shouldn't be the case. But hey, we are shifting our minds one at a time. So Venus is also what we crave, what we're working on in order to acknowledge our innate worth. So those who know mythology would know that Venus actually sent Psyche to go through a series of initiations to actually prove that she's worthy of Eros, which is Venus's son. So for you all out there who want to know more about that story, yeah, please Google it, and you probably can find material regarding it. What Psyche has to go through and ultimately earn Eros's love. This also shows that Venus has a jealous streak as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, why are we talking about Venus today? So in 2020, I'm sure all of us have gone through quarantine. So quarantine, I've Googled what the Latin root of the word quarantine is, and it's 40.
Oh, wow. Venus is retrograde.
So I've done all the numerology research, and 40 is actually imprinted all over the Bible. So in the Bible, the flood lasted 40 days. Moses fled Egypt for 40 years and wandered in the desert for 40 days and nights. And, etc., etc. The mentioning of the number 40 just repeats itself a lot. And yeah. And 40 days is also the recommended number of days if we want to implement a fundamental change or break a habit or try to introduce a new lifestyle into your life.
Oh, just 40. Good.
Yeah, just a month and a bit more. So 2020 can also be written as 20 plus 20, so it's equals 40. So, I thought I thought this will be the perfect opportunity to talk about Venus because Venus retrogrades for 40 days and nights,
So
minus the stationary phases.
So maybe it is connected. All those events that you said are connected with Venus, especially Venus retrograde.
This one is particularly special because I've actually looked at the day where Venus retrograde form a conjunction with the Sun exactly, and it was expected by a square from Mars. So earlier on, I talked about there's like darker sides to Venus as well. So Venus actually rules locusts.
Oh, locusts.
Yeah, so locusts. So why Venus rules locusts? Because they are very social insects. I won't call them animals. So and we've been having a lot of crop destructions all around the world, like in China, I think in Nevada state as well, in the US, and Pakistan and India. These are the most affected countries.
Yes, all animals like insects like bees and locusts and ants, the Venus ruled because they have like a united consciousness type of thing. They have like a swarm consciousness where one can be they kind of, like cyborgs, they're interconnected in there.
So when one starts flying, the rest all like, okay, go with it.
So that's very interesting correlation that you're talking, that it takes 40 days to change basically your whole internal setting and to introduce a new habit. And basically Venus is about what we like, so to change what we like, and basically maybe that, and to change our values internally, to reorganize all our values. And that's why Moses had to be in the desert for 40 days, and Jesus as well, and Exodus lasted 40 years. So it probably took, because they had to rewire the whole the chosen people in Exodus. They had to, God said that they would wander for 40 years, so the old generation can all die out so they can have new values in them. So very much connected, new values. And
also 40 weeks is the optimum duration for human gestation, sorry.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine like 40 is imprinted like really all throughout our lives on Earth, in short. So yeah.
And
so,
I think we become most beautiful in their 40s once they turn 40.
Well, as they say, 40s is the new 30s. So we are more.
Women become most relaxed in their femininity around 40.
Well, I think it's because like they've done the career, they've probably achieved up to a certain level, they have dated enough, and they have kissed that many frogs already, so they know probably what they really like.
and what
and they
their
really
worth
go
is.
for it.
Yeah, and what their worth is. So that's the retrograde Venus cycle. Change your priorities, change your values, change your self-worth. Definitely.
And yeah, so since we're talking about Venus retrograde, um, Venus retrograde periods are actually to review, revise, reevaluate, rekindle, repay, repair, and reaccess while she is in retrograde phase. And when Venus is in retrograde, it actually serves as a magnifying mirror to actually let you notice any flaws, be it real or blown out of proportion, to see if everything is according to your value and priorities. And you do that by looking and scrutinizing all of the issues that come up during a Venus retrograde to identify the your underlying motivations behind it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It just made me think about those mirrors they have in hotels to put on makeup. That where you look close and you see all your wrinkles, and that's very like Venus retrograde period. Fantastic.
But I must say that modern society have actually like erased, or should I say sanitized, the meaning of Venus a lot. Because just look at the fashion magazines. Just let me go back to um to to this slide. Just look at Giselle, the supermodel. I'm sure in magazines she is photoshopped to death.
Everyone is. We're all use filters and
And with every wrinkle, every line that's like Photoshop away, you're actually erasing her essence, which is Venus.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We all need a bit of Venusian beauty at this time. So, um, and whenever a Venus retrograde cycle comes in, it is perhaps a natural step in one's personal dance towards immortality by redefining one's true values, and it offers opportunity to access what one need to do so that one loves what he or she is doing, and it actually subtly connects us to our soul, our quintessence, our essence of soul. So regarding Venus going retrograde is that Venus disappears. Venus actually goes into the underworld. And when Venus goes into the underworld, um, metaphysically or metaphorically, we actually enter our subconscious more and unconscious mind. And when actually Venus disappears over the retrograde period, we actually encounter hidden or forgotten truths about ourselves, and perhaps also come face to face with our hidden side as well. We'll probably be feeling vulnerable, exposed, or even naked, you know. But then it actually comes from a place where we become disillusioned or dissatisfied with the area of life that Venus actually retrograde in. And what she does when she disappears into the underworld is that it actually helps to awaken dormant desires and tendencies within.
That's absolutely true. I just been this Venus retrograde in the last few months was in my fifth house. And when it started retrograding, I just realized I haven't had fun in such a long time. I just spend the days working, watching babies, the weekends watching babies, and I said enough is enough. I'm just gonna have fun, and started going out to parks, started going out to getaways with my husband. So I really reevaluated this fifth house. I want to have fun. I wanna, I wanna rekindle the spark of enjoyment of life, and I've been having a blast. So very beneficial.
So, in short, have you been like re-evaluating your priorities?
Not parties, just to have fun like a child again, because I had become too serious. And I just started playing more with my kids and going to fun parks and water parks and being more adventurous. Fifth house is about having fun and adventure and enjoying. I I had gotten out of touch with being able to enjoy life. For a few years, I just couldn't. And this retrograde period rekindled it. And I remembered what it was to play like a child, to have fun, to enjoy life. And it stayed with me. Now it's direct, but I still feel this way more joy about life and about having fun. So
Have you actually thought about when Venus actually turned direct, right? You actually feel more um, truly worthy and deserve more of fun for you in
ah,
your life.
I'm feeling it. Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to beat myself up a lot before, if I would allow myself to have fun, because I'm like, oh, I'm grown up woman, and now I'm like accepting it, and I feel more beautiful because of that, more worthy, more attractive, and this was this awaken. It awakened this sleepy side of me of I had forgotten how to have fun. So anyway,
Well, I
let's
think
carry
fifth
on.
house is I think fifth house is really like being more spontaneous.
Yes,
So and just
that's what it was.
like
Yeah.
just go on a whim and just be on that.
Yes, because before that we would plan 5 months in advance if we would go out to a restaurant with my husband. Now I'm now like, no, no. It's Friday, we're going somewhere and we're doing something and it's so much fun. I'm enjoying it. Okay, let's not protract that too long. Let's keep.
I mean, I only have one more thing to say. This is what I personally experienced like with Venus retrogrades, like up to now, like throughout my life. Venus may not always bring what we would love to have, but rather what we did not know we truly wanted.
I love that. Yes.
She seldom denies, but rather delays, so that when you achieve your heart's desire, you appreciate it that much more.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so since yeah, let's talk about the gilf of Venus, which is a circle on top of a cross. So this is going to be slightly more towards the esoteric side of astrology, the one I'm delving in. So a circle actually represents things like spirit, perfection of the soul, eternity, infinity, renewal, and creative life force. And that circle is sitting on top of a cross, which is matter, practical application, and basically life on earth is represented by a cross. So, in order to correctly channel Venus's energy, in short, you have to let spirit pour through you from the top.
Mhm.
And you manifest the essence of your soul or spirit on the earth plane or the physical plane. And what Venus's symbol actually tells me is that you have to be in touch with your true nature in order to experience what the essence of love is.
Oh, so would you say that people that have problems in love uh, and say attract difficult relationships, they are probably not in touch with their true essence?
I would say yes. I've got examples of women around me, be it friends or relatives or even closer ones than that, who have a damaged Venus, and it kind of, when I actually learn this much more about Venus and look at them, how they actually operate on a day-to-day basis, is coming from a place of lack of love, and you're not worthy. They feel that they're not worthy of some things, and that kind of set themselves up for the situation they're in.
Mm, it's a painful situation, yeah.
Well, but hey, we've got a whole lifetime to master all the planets in our charts. So hey, and yeah, just like what you mentioned just now, Venus represents a handheld mirror. So we basically look into Venus like a mirror, how we want to be treated, or how we behave actually is a reflection. Who we are actually is a reflection of who we attract. So Venus actually rules copper, so it's a conductor. So where Venus is placed in your chart, you have the capability to conduct the scene there, so to speak. Yeah. And of course, Venus is also about like shared values and common interests and all that.
Do you recommend if people have a weak Venus or afflicted Venus that, I know there are jugs, copper jugs, that you can put water in them and drink from them, and it gives you small particles of copper. I know that it's one remedy way to basically, for a weak Venus, to drink copper water by leaving water in a copper vessel.
I actually wear my Venus gemstones rings. Yeah. So be it like rose quartz, which is what you have, what you're wearing, which is a widely available quartz crystal that people can buy. There are also like purer vibration crystals. I actually love this one called morganite, which is it's a more purer pink ray in which you can tap into the heart chakra regarding when you're feeling you're low on Venus energy in your auric field. Yeah. So I've actually also dig into the Kabbalah. And in the early 16th century, this tree is actually called the Sephiro tree, which is what the Kabbalists actually use. And even the ancients know that beauty, which is right in the middle of the Kabbalah tree, is at the very core of what men actually seek. So beauty here has a wider reference. It's not only about physical beauty, but it's also like moral and spiritual ones. Hence, I mentioned earlier about Venus also being the gateway for ascension to divinity. And Venus is also, from what the ancients understand, is the very central essence that is needed for civilization's advancement, evolution, and greatest creative inspirations as well. Okay, Venus has also a few quirks as well in the solar system. It is the only planet that has a counterclockwise axial rotation away from the sun, whereas the rest are actually towards the sun. So what does this mean? This means that instead of involution, in order to develop the solar qualities within us, which is represented in our chart as the sun, Venus actually asks us to evolve, which is to turn away outwards. So this can be through radiating outward towards others and devote your consciousness to giving than expecting. So going back to the spiritual unfoldment bit, it is only possible when you actually understand Venus's love vibration that for one to actually be involved in that unfoldment process. Have a magnetic north or south pole as well. And so in the solar system, she's like the rare unifier. And hence, she also can represent oneness and unity in that way. So with Venus's
she has no south and north pole. So because of that, it's a whole. It's not like, it's not split in south, up and down
It's
south.
almost like its field is actually just
Unified.
on
Yeah.
its own, and yeah.
Fascinating. I didn't know this. Great insight.
We all learn a bit more every day. So, with Venus's exceptional brightness, I mean, she's the brightest planet in our solar system, and being closest to Earth, you know, having that unique clockwise rotation, and also not having a magnetic north or south pole. Esoterically, what it can mean is that um, she is actually in constancy eternally. Because her orbit in the solar system is so constant around the sun, we actually explore that later, that it's because of Venus's highly repetitive constancy and stability that let man actually build his faith in eternity, hopes and dreams as well.
Yeah, it's I know from esoteric sources and astronomy that it has the most perfect, the most balanced. First, it even doesn't seem to. It doesn't have an axis. It's kind of straight, and that's perfection. And they considered it, the ancients, they considered it perfect because of its perfect orbit as well. It's straight. It's not like that, and that's why it's actually in ancient astrology she was the bigger benefic. It was not Jupiter, she was more benefic than Jupiter according to ancient astrology. Right. Jupiter was the second in strength.
Okay, so let's talk about the dual nature of Venus. Just like any planet, but we are devoting this to Venus. So I've actually consulted the book by Alice Bailey, was it Esoteric Astrology? And Venus actually rules Gemini in esoteric astrology, which is the fifth ray of love and wisdom. And when I think about it, when I think about the sign Gemini, it's about the choices we have to make along the way. So in that sense, Venus actually feels at home in Gemini very well. Because the thing is that whenever Venus actually appears, or should I say disappear from the sky in our lives, we are actually constantly trying to reevaluate and make more choices that align to our remodeled value system. And through those dilemmas, which is Gemini, and choices that we make, also Gemini, we actually make use of her energy to navigate through life. Venus also has a bit of a quirk because even for Venus's parents, they're actually two sets. So those who know just preliminary astrology know that Venus actually rule Taurus and Libra. So for Libra, it's actually known as the celestial Venus or the goddess of love. And the picture on your left, it's captured by Sandro Botticelli about the birth of Venus as Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is actually born from Gaia and Saturn. And Aphrodite was actually born full grown from the sea foam. So I've put here that Aphros is actually Greek word for sea foam. And it represents the idealized, the more heavenly sort of love.
More platonic, yeah, more spiritual love. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more
and
mature, higher vibration love than that is Venus as an evening star, Aphrodite. when it
Yeah.
becomes visible as the evening star.
And
Otherwise,
we also have the other version, which is like Venus as the morning star. I think actually we're going to touch on morning and evening star later on. So morning star would be like the more Taurus and a second house energy to me. And she's actually born from Jupiter and Dion, and they represents common love. So if there's a whole spectrum, yeah,
like more physical love.
yeah, the really like sensual, and you need to feel the candles and the roses, all that. Um, what I want to add is that Venus is known as the giver of life, but it also can represent the taker of life as well. In Roman times, Venus is also considered to have like two identities, which is Venus Libertina, which is associated with funerals and extinction of life, and Venus Genetrix, which is associated with the mother of the Roman people. So you can see how this dual energy plays into the Gemini-ness of it all. Okay, so we're going to talk about Venus as morning star and evening star. So Venus as morning star basically means that it rises in the sky before the sun. And this would represent a more masculine principle of Venus and behaves like the warrior princess Athena, Aurora, and Aket. So when someone is born with the morning star, I'm more inclined to actually say that they're more involved in affairs and decisions of the state, politics, law, governance. Probably they're the advising warriors. Probably also more of a strategist. Whereas for evening star, which is Venus rising after the sun, she behaves more like the feminine principle of Venus, which is immortalized in Aphrodite and Uruk. And evening stars are actually more relationship driven and is less attached to the earthly material plane. And it's also linked to Sophia of wisdom or the wise woman. I just want to mention here is that when someone is born in as the morning star Venus and also as the evening star Venus, neither is better than the other. It's just a different way of operation. If you're aware and you're self-aware and you actually integrate Venus's totality, you can actually switch in between one or the other depending on situations. So the next point I want to touch on is that Venus is also Earth's sister planet. So Venus also rules sisters because of its similar composition and also the proximity to the sun.
Oh yeah,
and
in
hence,
astrology, Venus is sister, so all women in your life for sure.
yeah. And what we actually encounter this millennium is that we actually have the occultation of Venus that occurred in 2004 and 2012. So what this is that Venus actually appears as a black dot right here in front of the sun. And to me, this is like a Venus-like eclipse, so to speak. That's very powerful. And this actually occurred at 16 to 18 degrees of Gemini. To put it in perspective, for every millennium, there's only 8 times when we actually see this.
Oh.
So the next time we actually have another twin transit or occultation of Venus in front of the sun, it will be in 2117 and 2125. That will happen in Sagittarius.
And I think it gives a big indication what sign it happens in regards to how things will develop for women in the next 120 years till the next occultation or eclipse of Venus. And having happened in Gemini is very much about women developing skills and intellectually being more and more, you know, for the next 120 years, recognized and maybe forming communities of sorts as well. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So actually Venus, just like the moon, has got a north node and south node as well. And Venus's north node is actually in Gemini.
There's a
So
very strong connection to this Gemini.
yeah, so when we talk about the first one, which occurred on 8th of June 2004, after that, surely didn't we have Facebook or
Oh,
other social medias?
no, it didn't. There you go. That's when it started.
Twitter, MySpace, what else? What other social
A few
media
years
outlets?
ago, those started. Yeah, in this period between 2004 and 2012 is when all the social connection through social media, Venus in Gemini, to connect Venus, Gemini through the internet. Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Notice that. I always wondered why it started exactly then, but that makes so much sense.
And I will actually go on to say that because like Gemini rules writing, communications, I would say that the kids that are born very close to this occultation period in 2004, in 2012, they will be the up and coming creative writers that we need to look out for. Yeah. And Venus has many faces. So this is just to illustrate that, she's depicted across a lot of different cultures. Okay, so let's look at the Venus pentagram and the pi relationship. So Venus's synodic cycle is, sorry, just let me take that back. Venus actually meet up with the sun, meet up with the earth from the view of the sun 5 times. When Venus actually circles around the sun 13 times. And this is where Earth actually circles the sun 8 times. So if we do the simple mathematics, with Venus circling around the sun 13 times, and the Earth around the sun 8 times, we get 1.6 years per cycle. And Venus actually goes retrograde around 19.4 months, which is around 1.6 years. And so there's like this divine proportion that goes on. I actually have a simulation to play though, if you don't mind. That will make things easier to understand. Just let me. Where is the. Right. Oh, so right at the center will be the sun, and the green one will be Venus, and the blue one will be the Earth. So you can see how the 3 planets interact. And when 1.6 years is up, they make an alignment which creates the point. And so, in order to make that pentagram of 5 different points, in order to form a star, you need 8 years. And this simulation is with the Earth in the middle. So you have the Sun and Venus on the outside. And from this, we can see how it actually weaves that rose diagram that we have in the sky.
It's beautiful.
And it just keeps weaving, keep weaving, keep weaving. One thing to note though, this loop that's created by Venus is actually when she goes retrograde. So when she actually swings out of that loop, that's when she goes direct. So you can see how constant and how highly repetitive the cycle of Venus is.
That's why she represents perfection.
Yes, and hence that's
into our house for a long time. It is there to create more perfection, like every retrograde Venus period. Even though it can create a lot of trouble and pain and breakup sometimes, but the ultimate goal is to create more perfection in that area of life and balance.
Yeah. So altogether, like at the end of our journey, in each lifetime, hopefully that we've learned Venus's lesson and just kind of like be that closer to like, you know, to learn her lessons. So as we can see, Venus has such a highly repetitive 5-pointed star pattern in a perfect pi relationship that there's bound to be, or it actually leads me to conclude there's a cosmic heartbeat or clock that Venus is actually in charge of in the background. And it actually acts like a divine natural rhythm and magic of creation, of growth and conscious evolution. And I can't talk about Venus if I don't talk about the golden ratio, because 1.6 is very close to, you know, the, what is that? The, this guy here.
Fibonacci?
And
you mean, yeah. Okay.
yeah. So it's like 1 is to 1.618. I think that's the golden ratio. And it's actually captured by the mathematician in this series called the Fibonacci series. So like 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, and it goes on and on and on. So this is linked to Venus's perfect cycles.
Well, that's what we consider beautiful. Basically, this 1.6 ratio is when you have it in your face, the closer a face is to this ratio, the more beautiful it is considered universally. And again, this is Venus's ratio. The more closer to Venus's ratio, the more beautiful you look everywhere to everyone.
And so now let's talk about the Venus star and the Venus star point. So before we actually start, there's some definitions I need to go through. So the star, which is the pentagram star, in subsequent slides, I'll call it the Venus star or VS in short. So it literally is that star that you see over a total of 8 years. And the Venus star point, or VSP for short, is just one of the 5. Many people would be wondering, like, what is the difference between Venus in the natal chart and this Venus star point, which is, in short, the Sun-Venus Cazimi point. Venus star point actually holds a different frequency to the position of your natal Venus. Venus star point is what that is already innate inside you. Something no one can take away from you. Venus is about reaching out to one's environment to connect oneself to beauty, love, and friendship. So it's more of like an outward moving process mainly. Whereas for Venus star point, it's the manner in which one reaches deep inside oneself first to reflect the love, heartfelt self-expression, and beauty one innately possesses to share it outwards with others. So it's an inward searching process first, then it outwardly reflects onto others. Because for Venus star point, the light energy of Sun merges with the love energy of Venus, creating a unity between the heart of the cosmos and life on Earth that tunes into life's desire for creation. So your unique Venus star point sign can show how archetypal framework can show by archetypal framework what core ideas and urges that one will pursue during the course of one's life. And it represents your eternal burning flame. Lada, if I'm correct, you're born close to a Sun-Venus conjunction?
Yeah, exact, almost, yeah. 2 degrees, or 1 degree from each other. The dark Venus, yeah.
So yours is the Aries Venus star point, if I recall.
Yeah, you're right. In ancient astrology, they say this is very hard in the life for relationships, but can make one a healer and highly sexual.
You know what? I think it's because it's like your Venus is in Aries, but it's the evening star. So I think that's like it's like butting heads with each other. Kind of. So okay, so morning star point would be when Venus is in retrograde and actually inferior conjuncts the Sun. So what we have just happened last month would be the birth of Venus as a morning star. So an evening star point is the opposite. So Venus is direct and moves ahead of the Sun. Okay, this is the interesting part. So I've actually generated when Sun and Venus by transit actually conjunct. And whenever Sun and Venus conjunct in a sign, it repeats itself by phase. For example, morning star in this case, when Venus is retrograde, every 8 years. And when Venus is direct, which is an evening star being born, it also repeats every 8 years. These two clusters are actually independent of each other, and they actually move backwards in the zodiac. So if you see what happened in 2004 when we have that Venus occultation or transit of Venus in front of the Sun at close to 18 of Gemini, 8 years later, Venus as also a morning star is about 16 degrees. So with every 8 years, it moves backwards in the zodiac by 2 degrees. One thing to note, for about 12 years, from 2004 to 2016, if you have any planets around probably about 16 degrees, 15 to 18 degrees, you're actually triggered by Venus's magic, or you're having a lot of hot Venus action. So do check for those of you out there, if you have got natal planets that's around this sign, around these degrees, because whatever that you experience in 4-hour increments are probably tied to the Venus-Sun conjunctions that happened back then. So in between two Venus morning stars in the same sign, you have one that's direct, that will be around the same degree. This, I find, is like reiterating or highlighting the same issue in the wider 8-year cycle. So you've got every 4 years to check up on things. Okay. So these are the 5 star points that I plotted for 2020 to 2028. So if you move outside of the circle, we just had a morning star that just formed this year at 13 of Gemini. So 9.6 months later, we will have a evening star birthing. It actually alternates throughout. So if you go by outside the circle, every 9.6 months, it actually moves backwards in the zodiac. So from this, you can naturally deduce that also after this year, we've got, this Sun-Venus conjunction in Gemini. 2021, we'll have it in Aries. 2022, we'll have it in Capricorn. Later on in 2022, we'll have it in, it should actually be Scorpio, but we're actually moving into Libra. This is significant. I'll talk about that later. And then from this point, it goes to Leo and it goes back. So each of the 5 takes 9.6 months. And when you go inside the pentagram, the arrow of direction actually points to where the next Venus retrograde sign will be. So this year we have it in Gemini. 1.6 years later, we'll have it in Capricorn. And then 1.6 years later, you'll be in Leo in 2023. 1.6 years later, Aries. So it goes on and on and on and just build this perfect pentagram shape or rose pattern in the sky. What I want to bring your attention to is in 2022, this will be the first time since 1879 that Sun-Venus actually conjunct in the sign of Libra. And this will continue from 2022 onwards. When I actually think about this, because Libra is the Venus root sign, it came from a sign, Scorpio, which is Mars root, where Venus doesn't perform her best magic in. So when this star point actually moves to Libra in 2022 onwards, I would say that it's a very important new era that humanity is entering.
Maybe there'll be better music.
Also, there's one more thing. If you look at where Aries is decreasing, right? All the way to 0 Aries. So a new star point in Pisces is going to be born in 2041. So the key markers are the years 2022 and 2041, which ties to this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that we're going to have in 2020 that's going to last for 20 years.
Wow.
So these two are also happening in the sky. The first Libra star point is going to be born, and close to 20 years later, a Pisces Venus star point is going to be born.
Where Venus in both signs, she feels much better.
Yeah, so it's like we have a switch from
Empowerment will
two.
come. Maybe it will get better for relationships for people. Venus in Libra, Venus in Pisces. And it's interesting because it means that when it's moving, it means that most people who are alive now, all people that are alive now, all their lives, they've had Venus retrograde only in 5 houses every time.
Mm,
Only in
yeah.
5 areas of their lives. Almost like when the soul chooses to be born, it knows that it will be working most of its lifetime, and for many people, the whole lifetime, because Venus changes signs like so rarely in its points, you know, the star points, that they would be trying to reevaluate and instill new values in only 5 areas of their lives. But now there will be a huge shift. I guess we've done the work in those areas connected to Scorpio and connected to Aries almost. And we'll start reevaluating other areas of our lives according to where your ascendant is, what sign it is.
That is true. And one of the main reasons I want to present Venus as a topic is because through this, Venus's principles are rebirthing. We are switching from two Mars root signs in terms of star points to two Venus root signs, star point wise. And I know predictions are kind of like, I try not to say just, say out, but when I see Venus's principles being rebirthed, maybe there's more peace on earth.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Wow. Thank
Or
you.
maybe that peace on earth becomes like a moral obligation to humanity.
Yes, and people's values will start aligning to the rights, you know, to more justice, like Libra, to more compassion, like Pisces, to more equal relationships. So definitely, I totally agree with you. I don't think you're saying exactly how things will be. So there is hope for us, guys, you know.
And because like previously is in two Mars root signs, so people are always looking at differences. So when it switches into two Venus root signs, my hope is people can see past the differences and be at truce with each other. Like there's more tolerance. Probably there's going to be less borders as well because we have a Pisces star point coming in.
Oh, you're right. And is
And
serious
more consensus. Yes,
and more
more consensus.
constance.
More consensus.
Yes, because Mars, because Aries and Scorpio, where the Venus points were till now, they're about competition. They're about suspecting each other. They're about the winner takes it all. This is what we value as humanity in the current, in the last how many 100 years it's been happening there, and it's gonna shift into the Libra Pisces energies. So that this is great news. Thank you, Donnie. I'm very excited. I haven't thought of that, but it's fascinating.
And it also reinforces feminine healing powers. So
Yeah,
hopefully we're moving more towards the divine feminine principle more. That's what I'm like really all about.
absolutely. I'm getting goosebumps, so you're right. I'm like a
Um,
feral animal. My body talks when something is true.
and one thing too, because the thing is that in between these two Mars root signs, star point wise, in the middle we have a Capricorn star point that's still active when these two signs actually change in the next 20 years, within the next 20 years. So Capricorn actually rules institutions, government, and corporations. So with these two clipped, on each side, I'm hoping that governments, institutions, and corporations may become more compassionate and people-oriented, and not be like out to exploit people as much.
Yeah,
But
wars.
that's just my dream.
Now it's Scorpio Aries. Let's surveil people, Scorpio. Let's bug all their phones and record all their conversations. And Aries, let's start wars. That's what is valued by governments. But within 20 years, both those points will move, and the governments will be much more balanced. They'll be about equal rights. They'll be around about compassion. Absolutely true.
So I think like before I go to the next slide, I just want to like conclude what I want to say here. Precision of this Venus cycles lends itself beautifully to help one understand thyself, the process of change and adjustment over the course of time, and be in tune with the cycles that ultimately brings about awakening us to our spiritual nature, the divine feminine through the symbolic essence of Venus. Each petal in this 8-year geometric pattern, as captured by the star, known as the Venus pentagram or the rose of Venus, represent a different stage on the pathway to greater love. These Venus cycles work to bring us into harmony with dormant desires, talents, and agreements we have made at a higher level. This is to further iterate your point regarding each one of us are born with a chart, and this Venus star points occur in 5 houses. And these are the 5 that we need to synergistically work towards to understand her principle. Let's look at an example, shall we? The first one I have is Gordon Ramsay. So I initially wanted to pick Oprah, but Oprah's covered by Josie. So I wanted to choose someone who's also have a Sun-Venus conjunction. And he's got one that is in Cazimi, so close. And I call that the Oprah effect. And that's one of the indicators of fame and fortune with that Cazimi point. Or in this case, is the Venus star point in Scorpio. And for Gordon Ramsay, is in his 6th house. And it is an evening star because Venus is direct here. So Scorpio star, Venus star point represent passion, drive, aggression, and ability to transform, regenerate, and renew. However, because it's inside the 6th house and what it actually aspects, because this star is the star point, it actually aspects the IC and the co-ruler of Pisces, the 10th house, which rules the other parent, is also very close to the star point. Venus, which rules the 5th house of younger siblings, is also in the mix. So there's actually potential for addiction issues. And true enough, Gordon Ramsay has actually revealed via interviews that I think was the father and the younger brother that used to be addicted to alcohol and also drugs for the younger brother, I think. And what's even more interesting when we look at the aspect of this star point and the ruler, how it's actually configured in Gordon's chart, we can actually see what is his divine spark. What is his, what turns him on? I associate Venus star point like Eros, like what really drives you from the inside. And for Gordon, this Venus star point actually square his part of fortune that can bring him money. Also, this Venus star point is close to the sanitation asteroid called Hygiea, which is right beside South, right in between South Node and Neptune. So Hygeia was actually also responsible for the toilet paper craze we had earlier this year. Hygeia is very active in the sky back then. And since we are looking at Scorpio, we have to look at both Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto are actually together in Virgo in the 4th house. So what is Gordon Ramsay famous for? Diet, something regarding diet and routine, something regarding, because the ruler of that Venus star point happens in Virgo, something to do with keeping things clean and tidy.
Oh yeah, he's a clean freak. And all those planets in the 6th house for sure.
Yes, and he probably earned a lot of money doing that because he squared the part of fortune.
Actually, yes, squares to the part of fortune are considered good because it's angular.
Mm.
So it's
And so what shows do we have from Gordon Ramsay? Hell's Kitchen. Kitchen nightmares. Why nightmares? Because Venus rules the 12th house.
and Hell's
And
Kitchen because it's in Scorpio. Scorpio.
yeah, Hell's Kitchen, is in Scorpio. And 12th house also rules hotel. So he actually has a spin-off show called Hotel Nightmares as well. Or Hotel Hell, yeah. And then one other facet is that 12th house also rules prisons. And he actually helped convicts to become train the convicts to become cooks, so they can have a functioning job in society when they get released from it. So you can see how this Venus star point actually plays into what is his gift of love, actually, that he's giving out to the world, even though he's in Scorpio. And his temper isn't that great because of that Mars Uranus as well in his chart together. Okay, let's look at Nicole Scherzinger. By the way, do you know who she is, Lada?
For sure. She's dating a Bulgarian tennis player, so I know.
Oh, okay. Because when I look at her chart, particularly when I look at it from the viewpoint of the Venus star point, I realized why that she's one of those that didn't quite make it big in the music industry. There's always been all this talks about like for the past 20 years, how come she can sing, she can dance her butt off, she can sing opera, she can do all this, but why is she just not not where she should be? So I actually looked at her Venus star point, and hers is in Aquarius in the 6th house, using whole sign house system. So she's born under an Aquarian Venus star point, and Aquarian Venus star point have a highly contagious, charismatic nature, and they do well with publicity and media. They also have a socially reformative side to them, and there's an artistry. They want to be that unique one. But having said that, they are often at times being caught wanting to be in the group, but also want to be their own unique individual self. And for her, it's actually conjunct Juno, which is a commitment asteroid. So she's committed.
Asteroid? Commitment. Okay.
So Venus star point actually conjunct Juno. And so she really wants that. That's what she really wants. Before I sound like a Spice Girl. That's what she really wants. And that Venus star point actually squared the moon. So that's what she really wants. And when we talk about Nicole, I'm sure that more than 8 out of 10 would be, oh, she's part of the Pussycat Dolls. We won't be, or should I say, like very few or nearly none of us would be talking about her as a solo artist, even though she's gone solo for a while. So was it late last year, they actually had a reunion, and it was I think it was X Factor UK that they performed like after like close to 10 years being apart. And they put on a bomb show, I must say. And however, when people see them coming back together and call themselves the Pussycat Dolls, people actually call the group Nicole and her backup dancers glorified. And this is because why did they disband in the first place? It's because of that 12th house energy. If we actually look at where the Venus star point is, which is 2 degrees of Aquarius, it close to exact trine North Node, and North Node's ruler is in the 12th house. And it's in a sign of performing arts, Leo. It is approaching to Saturn because we have this thing called progressions, and Venus moves quite fast, and Venus is direct as well. So eventually it will hit Saturn and it dissolves. However, when we look at Aquarius as a star point, there's also a sense of being socially aware. And she has been doing a lot of work in the past decade, or even 2 decades actually, be it activism and also charity.
Yeah, I think that's what you should focus on, because also the ruler of the star point is Saturn. It's in the 12th house, which is charity as well. Aquarius is social activism. I think that's what should be great for.
Also, because that Aquarius star point is in the 6th house, conjunct Juno, she's married to her work. So as her main motivation. And the star point and Juno actually square Chiron as well in the 9th house. And 9th house, if I use derivative houses, is the 3rd from the 7th. 7 in this case represent the record company, Pisces, 1, 2, 3. And this is the marketing by the record company. And it's square that, the star point and Juno. So what it tells me is that perhaps the record company doesn't know how to market Nicole as a solo artist because they don't know how to place her. She can do this, she can sing opera, she can sing this, she can do that, and she can do everything. But maybe there's a mold that the record company wants her to be in front of the public, and hence it really kind of wounded her, Chiron, sabotaged her in a way as well, shoot her in the foot, which is Chiron as well, from not being able to have that artistic freedom.
Wow, I've never used asteroids, so it's interesting talking about Juno, Chiron. I really don't know what they're about, but they give depth.
Oh, and also Chiron is actually like a pain of some sorts. And when it's in a woman's chart, when it's beside the moon, it could actually mean like a pain from motherhood. And I think we all know that Nicole is not a mother yet at this point, and it's been brought up in magazines, like there's this shaming as well. 9th house is actually other people's opinions. 3rd house is actually her own opinions. So other people are like shading her in the tabloid, saying that, oh, she wasted all her good years with like what's her ex-boyfriend, Lewis Hamilton of the F1 race car driving for like a good 10 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then she didn't like, became a mom, and, she's being like questioned about it. And I only can imagine how uncomfortable it is. But also, since it's squaring like the star point and Juno in the sixth house, maybe she's putting her career first and foremost as the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so she in a certain way just you know what, I need to get to where I need to be. So if I need to sacrifice motherhood, so be it. Yeah.
Yeah, look,
One
she
more.
has so much cancer though. She would love being a mom.
Cancer is also the food that she eats. Right? Do you know that she actually has eating disorder?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because like back in the Pussycat Doll days, literally she is wearing only a bra and panty, and maybe slightly more like cloth, you know. And so she's always like being thrown by the record executives to be like, this like hypersexualized thing.
Mhm.
And so like when you're photographed with so little on all the time, you get very insecure. And the planet of photograph is Neptune, and is angular in her chart. So she actually is very aware inside.
And I know that food disorders are connected to Moon Chiron as well, because Moon is
Yeah,
to nurture
as well.
yourself, and damages to the second house, and she has the North Node and Pluto. Pluto is
Yes.
obsessiveness with food, and either too much or too little, and the North Node, which even magnifies it further. There, sorry, carry on.
And the ruler of that Pluto in the second house is in the 12th house. She probably did it like she developed bulimia, as in like she just like induced vomiting to kind of make herself, um, yeah, skinny and beautiful for us, So that's what's happening behind the scenes, the 12th house. But one good thing about that Venus and Saturn in the 12th house for her, which links back to her star point, because Saturn co-rules that star point, is that she has been serving as a long-term judge in X Factor UK, not in her home country of US, but UK, which is a land far away from here, 12th house. So it all ties in nicely into that. Okay, we can't just stop there. And we're going to talk about Venus return, because it's one of those things that happen to us regularly. It's one of those shorter, higher frequency cycles, because Venus return happens about 12 months plus or minus 1 month, depending whether in the middle Venus goes retrograde or not. So what is the Venus return in short? This is a chart that's cast when Venus returns to the natal position. It's like a screen snapshot of that moment. So it gives clues to themes of pleasure, happiness, popularity, enjoyment, whether your social calendar will be full or not, joyful feelings from creative pursuits, whether you receive a gift, money, can you attract them, finances, and whether you be dating or enriching a relationship or fragmenting a relationship. So for this Venus return, I'll like to look at Richard Branson. Something very interesting happened in 1972. Natally, Richard Branson has got Venus in the sign of Gemini, late Gemini, 24 degrees. And in 1972, Venus actually retrograded over his natal Gemini 3 times. So he's got 3 Venus return charts. Whenever I see that, very important or significant developments regarding Venus-related matters are bound to occur, because it doesn't happen often where you have 3 Venus return charts back to back. And for this analysis, I've chosen the last direct one because that's the one that has the longest validity among the three return charts. So on the right would be the Venus return chart. And what really caught my eye is that Venus is angular in the first whole sign house. And is actually part of a T square with Jupiter and Pluto. When I see Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto in an aspect, even if it's hard aspect, it can actually be wealth generating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jupiter, Pluto, yes, wow, yeah.
So also another thing is that North Node is conjunct the midheaven in the Venus return chart. So any nodal context means that there will be some sort of fated or karmic flavor to meeting someone. Is how I see it. And so in the Venus return chart, he already has a I already can see that there's a potential for him to make money and probably a lot of it because it's angular, the three planets, first, 7, and 4th. And the midheaven in the Venus return chart is also highlighted. So I look back at how the planets in the Venus return overlay with the natal chart. We've got Pluto, which is the pivotal planet or the apex planet of that T square, on top of his Juno, which is commitment.
Marriage, yeah, commitment, marriage.
To the same degree. It could be marriage, it could be married to something. You
To
know,
career, to music.
it's in a sign of Virgo. That's the year he started Virgin Records.
And okay, music. It's a
And
Venusian event again, music.
yeah, and he probably has fated meetings with people in power, which is what's indicated in the Venus return midheaven with the North Node that can help him achieve that. Also, Neptune is angular at 2 degrees of Sagittarius in the Venus return chart, and it's closely trine his Mercury in a sign of Leo, which is some form of entertainment. And Neptune is trining from the 5th, if I overlay the two charts, to that Mercury. So 5th house is entertainment, Leo is entertainment, and Mercury rules in his natal chart 11 and 2nd house. Yeah, so there's like financial gains. It reiterated that.
It was very interesting techniques. I've never thought of Venus return charts. I've never looked at them, but powerful.
Oh, but
I was fascinated also during when we were doing the tests and everything, that you use such a wide gamut of techniques. It's incredible. You incorporate so many different techniques from so many different schools, and that's why we thought, oh, he must know those people whose charts we were giving celebrities without name, because it was too correct.
well, and also I like, maybe I'm influenced by Josie as well. I use a lot of derivative houses as well myself.
I find them fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, by the way, one thing to note, if the sun or the ascendant sign are Venus ruled, which or Libra, you may need to give more weight to Venus return charts.
I should look at my husband then from now on.
Probably, yes, probably, yeah. Okay, so the last section I want to touch on is the Venus yacht. So let's look at the natural wheel of the zodiac. And Venus is a really funny little planet, I would say, because the thing is that it is ruling Taurus, ruling Libra, and it's exalted in Pisces. When I actually join this up, I actually find a yacht.
The finger of God.
The finger of God, divine intervention. So we can actually place a yacht-shaped configuration with the tip pointing at Venus. Why is that so? Because I think we talked earlier about Venus as the navigation star or planet earlier. The thing is, Venus's movement in many centuries ago, together with the movement of the moon and the sun, are used to actually plot rose lines or the longitudinal lines on maps. That's how it enables travelers to travel all around the world. So if we actually follow the direction, her direction, with the yacht, which means there's a divine intervention involved, we can actually be more in flow with universal harmony. And our lives will actually fall into place. I have tested that on myself and it has worked well so far.
So even if you don't have a yacht, you can use Venus's.
You just look at where Venus is and then just draw out a yacht. And from there, you can just like delineate the meaning of, let's look at an example, shall we?
How to navigate the waters of your life.
Yes. And your life will be more falling into place. Although there'll be some struggles because it is a yacht, there's still two inconjunctions involved. But then the opportunity at the base of the yacht, that sextile, if you've mastered both signs, what it actually mean, you can just go straight to Venus's love and essence and have her blessings. So let's take Beyonce's chart. Interestingly, in Beyonce's chart, she's got angular Venus in Libra together with Pluto. And
that's why she's so sexy.
She actually exudes all that. But then Venus is actually involved in a yacht itself. It's not the tip of a yacht, it's actually the base of the yacht. And it's when I saw this natal yacht that Beyonce has, I started laughing because the thing is that Venus rules girls. Sextiling Neptune, Dream. She's been in the movie Dreamgirls, in which like that's probably one of her biggest achievement to date. However, since Venus is not at the tip of the yacht, it is actually at the base. There's an inconjunct of Chiron and Venus we have to look at. So Venus Chiron quincunx or inconjunct can mean that she actually takes things very personally with a need to be badly honored and admired. This can induce unpleasant insecurities. And this Venus in conjunct Chiron can also bring a crippling sensitivity because that's what Chiron actually in hard aspect to any planet will cause. So even though she has starred in the movie Dreamgirls, which is very fitting from that Venus-Neptune sextile, she didn't win the Best Actress award for it, and I think that's what the Chiron in the eighth house means. Because eighth house to me represent legacy, and with Chiron there, it's a bit tainted. So there's always like a sore spot, so to speak. She didn't win, but then her co-star actually won for Dreamgirls. So until today, yeah, we all can know what she's really feeling inside, because it really can bite really deep with that yacht that involved like Venus. However, if we actually draw a yacht from Venus, we actually have these 2 points. So let's kind of delineate what this 3 points in total can mean. So we've got natal Venus in the first house conjunct Pluto. This can mean that she's very dynamic, oozes sex appeal, like what you said, Lada, very symmetrical features. And because Venus in Libra, it's dignified. Venus in Libra is also a people pleaser. So when it's conjunct Pluto, she can be very self-critical in a lot of ways and very easily jealous that we don't see. Or maybe she just hides it well. So let's move on to that point in Pisces. If we draw it like 6 signs apart, which I land up in 20 degrees of Pisces in the 6th house. Pisces rules music. 6th house is work environment. So her work environment involves like, you know, all the fantasy stuff, all the film things. She's appeared in multiple films as part of the music industry as well. And the co-ruler of Pisces, Neptune, is in the 3rd house. So it's the second from the second, using derivative houses. So she's got to be her own boss in many ways. And the other co-ruler of Pisces, Jupiter, is also in the 1st house and is in the marriage sign of Libra. Jupiter can also represent a husband in a woman's chart. And so no wonder she actually married someone who's equally as rich, which is Jay-Z. 6th house is also what we wear on the body before we get out the house. So she has quite a number of clothing line under her name, in which some have already closed shop, I think. But then there's always new ones coming out. It's like through designing clothes and putting out clothing lines, she fulfills her Venus's blessing. And so if I move,
quotes, I didn't know that.
oh, because like when we wake up, it's the 1st house, right? When we open our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
7th house is when we get out the door.
To meet the.
So 6th house is what? 6th house is like, what clothes do we put on?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's like clothing in that sense. And so the next point from that Venus yacht would be at 20 degrees Taurus. Okay, that's very close to her Chiron. So 8th house is legacy, someone's legacy, and Taurus, it rules the body. And so Beyonce has been, shall I say, gotten roles, film roles that, was it Pink Panther, I think? Yeah, that she got to like, like really like hypersexualize herself. And because Chiron is nearby, um, the values of other people, second house is her values, eighth house is other people's values. So other people said that Beyonce is so talented, she doesn't need to bear that much flesh in order to become the icon that she is. So this is what I gather from Beyonce's
So
Venus
much.
yacht.
Thank you so much, Donnie. That was so much information. I mean, people
I
can
know.
so much from if they watch it a few times. A lot of the things you said, I did not know myself. So when you do a reading, is it gonna include that special reading that you're offering for 40% off? It's gonna include this type of things that you look at that you were
Yes,
showing.
these are the few techniques I'll be using, yes, to kind of put you on your path, because um, all of us are very familiar with our natal Venus, what it does. But then, I think the slide that we touched on regarding the rebirthing of the feminine principle, I want to help people find their feminine dharma, if that makes sense, to
Mm-hmm.
actually elevate their Venus principle to be in sync with the world that is soon to be.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Donnie. That's it took an hour and a half. Wow, it's a whole lecture.
I
Fascinating.
know.
Anyone who would like to have a reading with Donnie, Donnie also offers other kind of readings. You can check his profile. As I said, we were so impressed with him that we didn't believe him, so we gave him. We asked him to make 2 more charts to be sure that he's that correct. Again, I gave him a chart of my brother and didn't tell him who he was.
Oh,
He
oh,
kind
the
of,
last chart is your brother.
yes, that you still don't know who it was.
No, I don't.
Yeah, it was my brother, and you basically described his life. That he has an
Oh,
older
okay.
wife, that she's very financially successful, and he profits from his marriage. Not in a bad way; they're very in love and stuff. But that
Something I remember I said something regarding teeth, right?
I don't remember that. But you also said that he's into gambling, and he was professional poker player and such kind of stuff. Like I was like, okay, that's freaky, correct. But thank you so much, Donnie. Welcome to the Astrolada family. Uh, and Donnie will be making more videos, more such fascinating presentations. And if you'd like to contact him, the details are below in the description. Um, I'm looking forward to work with you in the future, Donnie.
Likewise. Can't wait to talk with you soon, actually.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day.